Alright, I am super stoked for this mail call. Man, this is Area 419 scope mount and some accessories. I've been wanting to get one of these since they came out. I've been running a Spur. I still do. I love them. But man, I think these Area 419 mounts are going to be a lot better and easier to mount. So anyways, let's go to it. Alrighty, I just opened the box. Man, look at that. That's some serious case. That's like my ammo case that my friend Rich made me. Wow, that is crazy. It's sealed. I mean, I can't think of a company that does this and takes their packaging seriously like Area 419 does. You have your specs over here: 45 inch-pounds for the base and 18 inch-pounds for the caps. I also bought the matching scope ring fixed level and the diving board. By the way, for the price of one Spur, the Spur cantilever mount I think is $545, but I spent less than the price of that for all of these. And this already comes with a Picatinny on top, by the way. And with the bubble level and the diving board and all the accessories that comes with it, and it doesn't come with it, you have to buy it separately. Like, it's still less than the Spur mount. So you're getting a big bang for your buck by buying one of these scope mounts. And I think they're probably one of the best, if not the best right now in the industry. So yeah, let's open it up and take a look at the features. You have this purple Loctite, which is a little bit weaker than a blue Loctite. Very smart of them to do that instead of a blue Loctite. And then it comes with the Torx. This is the T20. So the cool thing about this is that all of the Torx screws are all the same size. You don't have to fumble around and get different sizes. They're all going to be one size. And look, it already comes with a Picatinny. And if I wanted to replace that with a diving board, which I am planning on it, I'm going to replace it with a diving board. I can take off that Picatinny on top. This is the cantilevered mount, and I'm going to be putting that on my Mark V. But man, I'm just very impressed with their attention to detail. One of the first things that you guys will probably notice is that this is raw metal. So traditionally, scope companies or scope mount companies will send off their parts to be anodized, and then once they come in, they'll assemble them. But Area 419 takes an extra step, and they say it may be overkill. I don't think it is. I think it's good. After the parts come back from anodizing, they assemble it and they rebore it so that it's raw aluminum over here, which will have a lot more grip on your scope tube than the coating that would normally be there. So you don't have to worry about putting rosin in it like you would with the Spur mount. And if you take a look at their YouTube channel or their Facebook, they did a video comparing the top scope mounts and how well it like held the tube compared to this mount, and this mount won on top of the scope mounts. So anyway, so here you go. The attention to detail, I'm just super impressed with it. It does have these marks over here. You know, I got the 35 millimeter scope tube mount, and then 39 millimeter because I got giraffe neck, so which is 1.5 inch high for me. If you take a look right there, it tells you this torque specs for the clamp is 45 inch-pounds, and then for the rings, 18 inch-pounds. Super helpful. If you're in the field and you forgot your phone or your manual and you need to know the torque specs, it's right there. And then it tells you the torque order: 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can put accessories right here, which is I think I'm gonna put my bubble level right there. And then but yeah, I'm just super impressed with their attention to detail. with the scope mount, and super happy. I'm very excited to use it, and I just want to show you guys the spur mount in comparison. This is the cantilevered spur mount. So yeah, it's about the same size, looks like. But this is, I think you're getting more bang for your buck with this one. With this mount, you're spending probably like $600-700 with all the accessories included on there. But with this one, with all the accessories that I bought for it, you're spending way less than the spur mount with this scope mount. So also, one of my favorite features with this mount is that you have a guiding pin right here in the middle. What that allows, what the purpose of that is, so that whenever you torque down your screws, after your scope is level, then you torque it down. Like if you torque it down, sometimes with the spur mount, what I see is that it comes off level because this will cause the scope tube to turn. But having this guiding pin right here keeps this scope ring straight instead of making it turn right or left, which will cause your rifle to come off level. And having these guiding pins is like super helpful, so that your rifle scope will stay level while you're torquing down your scope rings. So that's a nice little feature that they included. All right, so here's the guide pin. I took off the screws. Very tight tolerance. Prevent your scope from coming off a level while you're torquing it down. So it's a nice little feature. I think that's going to be one of my favorite features. And the cool thing of these is if you accidentally misalign this versus this way, you always want to keep it aligned probably in one way than the other, is that if you look at where the numbers are, the numbers on the top and the numbers on the bottom should be lined up. And you'll know that it's backwards if the numbers are not aligned. So the numbers should be lined up properly. One on top and one on the bottom, and the same thing for that ring. So, and then I got this diving board right here. I got the larger version, and then it comes with the Torx bit. And then I also have the bubble level. I got so many Air 419 stickers. I buy so many things from them, which I love them, and I'm very proud of them. And this is for the bubble level. So anyways, I guess let's install the bubble level and the diving board. Alright, we're going to install this diving board, and there's a special way to install these. First we need to take off this Picatinny mount on top. So that's what we're going to do. Just take that off. And you probably want to save these and not throw it away. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this Picatinny right here back in the box. And then if I need to use it again in the future, I will. So this part right here is tapered, so you want to be careful. You don't just want to torque down. Oop, let me get that screw real quick. Alright, so you don't just want to install it and then tighten down the front and then tighten down the back. You have to do it incrementally in steps, because if you don't, you're going to end up damaging this part or the diving board, and you don't want to do that. And then send it back to Air 419, and they have to ship you back a different one. You know, that's just no fun. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do it in incremental steps, evenly throughout. Alright, it stops right there, so I'm not putting any pressure on it. And you're going to see a gap right here, right in the middle. Once, so let's do it like just a little bit below snug. As you can see, I have my finger right here in the stem so that I don't apply any torque on it. So you're gonna see that gap right there in between the diving board and the actual scope mount. So what you're gonna do is the first step is to torque it down to 15 inch-pounds. So I have my torque, my fix-it sticks over here, and my 15 inch-pounds indicator. So I'm just gonna torque that down to, well, I'm not gonna torque it down yet. I'm actually gonna keep snugging it slowly. We'll torque it down eventually to 15, but I'm just doing it, I'm still doing it incrementally. So, okay, now that's pretty snug. And as you can see, the gap is getting closer and closer together. So now I'm gonna torque it down to 15 inch-pounds on one side, and then 15 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, 15 inch-pounds on one side. Funny story, when I first started working with guns, I didn't know the difference between inch-pounds and foot-pounds. So when I was tightening up a gas block on my AR, I think it called for 45 inch-pounds, and I ended up doing 45 foot-pounds. So I had to email the manufacturer and tell them what I did, and I'm sure they were laughing at me. They were laughing at that email. So anyways, 15 inch-pounds. Now I'm gonna, after doing the 15 inch-pounds, now you're gonna want to torque it down to its actual torque, final torque value, which is 45 inch-pounds. So let's start with the front. Actually, a little bit more leverage. Start with the front. All right. Okay, just maybe one more click in the back. Okay. All right, so at this point, that gap should be close. You should not see any gap. If you do, you probably did it wrong. If you see any gap here and no gap here, or no gap here and then, or if you see a gap here and then no gap here, you probably did it wrong, and you need to take the screws off and check for any damage. So this is how you install the diving board. All right, now we're going to install this bubble level. I've seen some guys install it right here. I'm not going to do that because I don't want, because I just like being able to see the bubble level more so. If I guess, how do I explain this? So if my reticle, if the middle of my reticle is going to be right here, I want my bubble level to be closer to that middle than further away. So if I orient it down below like this, it's a little bit further away versus if I orient it at the top. Like on my spur mount, it's up here. So I also, I'm gonna, instead of installing it back here, I'm gonna install it up here so that I could see my, because I'm orienting it this way. If I install over here, then it's gonna be in the way of my parallax, and I won't be able to see the numbers. So if I install over here, I'm gonna avoid that problem. Anyways, this was very self-explanatory to install this. So put the thread locker right here. So just a little bit, not too much. Maybe just a little bit at the tip so that it can work its way down the threads. Alright, just work that a little bit and then put the next screw in. I don't have a torque value for this one, but I'm just gonna do 20 inch-pounds. Let's do about 20. That's because I think 20 is where I have my spur accessories around. You don't want to over tighten it and then break the screws. So 20 inch-pounds will go a long way. Whew. All right, that's a nice bubble level. All right, there you have it, folks. This is the Area 419 scope mount. And with the bubble level and diving board and the mount itself, you're spending just as much as you would with a spur mount without all the accessories. So you're getting a really good bang for your buck with probably the best scope mount right now in the industry.